Hello, here we are today. Let's get into wine today. I want to give you a little introduction about wine, what it is, what the history is, how you make a wine, how you taste a wine, and how you pair wine with food. All interesting subjects. Yeah? But today we focus on the first things, back to basics. What is wine? Well, of course you know wine comes from grapes. I think that's the first point. Yeah? What I want to make clear that wine is different from other beverages. Why? Yeah? Wine is coming from grapes. Yeah? And by definition, wine is very simple. What is it? It is a beverage made from fermented grapes. And the good thing about it, it's fermented grape juice only. So, what does that imply? Maybe that doesn't sound too interesting, but it means that to make a wine, you can only use grapes. So it's not like making a beer, where you can take in ingredients from every place of the world. A winemaker just has to deal with the grapes that he gets from that year, and from those grapes, he has to ferment it, and that's the wine. So it's just fermented grape juice, but also only fermented grape juice. That's the first thing I want to make clear. So we know now what it is, but what makes it so special? Then we have to look at the process, how the grapes are growing every year, and what you have to do to make a great wine from it. So let's go by it step by step. First, when you have grapes, you have a yearly cycle of coming from nothing. The plant every year starts with nothing. It's just a pruned vine, that's the plant. And then it starts growing in springtime. You get leaves, you get grapes. And the grapes ripen off during the season, very important, that you have enough sugar and acidity. And when it's the right time, you harvest them by machine or by hand. And then the plant gets rest again. That's the yearly cycle of the vine. Just one time a year he delivers those great grapes that are very important. So remember that. Then it delivers the berries, the grape berries. That's around, let's say, maybe end of July, August, also depending on the season and the weather of that year, you get the grapes. And out of the grapes, you have to take all the things that you need to make a great wine. And in the grape, in the skins, you have the color. There's the color of a black wine, red wine. You need a black grape to have the color. Inside are the sugars, is the acidity, are aromas and nutrients. Outside is the skin with the color. You also have the stalk, but the stalk is containing a lot of hard tannins. It's not a good component for the wine in general. So that's what you're going to use, the berries of the year, to make that great wine. Okay, next step. I said wine is only fermented grape juice. So we have the grapes, we have the European grape, that's very important. And now you are looking for what makes a quality wine. First, you have to have enough sugar, because fermentation means transformation of sugar into alcohol. How does the vine, the plant, make those sugars? How does the plant make those sugars in those grapes? You know, a plant is just standing there. It looks like a lazy bastard, but it's not. It's collecting the light from the sun. It's getting from the soil, it gets the water, takes carbon dioxide from the air. It's a little machine making sugars and store them in the grapes. That's what it does. And why does he make those grapes? Because one day the birds will come, eat those grapes, and transport the seeds to another place. That's his next generation. You know, a plant, it can't move. It's stuck to a place. That's the problem of a plant. So it needs the birds to come to carry the seeds to another place. And to do that, the grapes have to be very attractive, colorful and sugarful. That's where the plant is working for all year. And that's good, because as a winemaker, you want those grapes also to be sugarful and colorful and attractive, like a bird, more or less. Okay, that's one thing. That's about the plant. Then you take the grapes to your wine cellar and then you want to make a wine of it. The transformation from grape juice to wine means that you have to involve another organism, and that's the yeast. Maybe you know them from baking. Baking, you use the yeast also, but in winemaking they're as important because the yeast will eat the sugars from the grapes and transform them in alcohol and carbon dioxide. There you go, from a sweet juice to what they call a dry wine, a non-sweet wine with alcohol level maybe of 11, 12, 13%. And that's what the yeasts are doing. So you need two organisms, the vine and the yeast, to make your wine. What I look to illustrate is that the influence of the place is so big on a plant. Like this cobblestone is coming from Argentina, but also in Châteauneuf-du-Pape you have these stones. What this implies is that the place is very dry because all the water, the rain, goes deep into the soil. And this causes stress for the plant. The plant thinks, oh, I'm going to die here, it's too dry. What should I do? And then for the plant it becomes so important to make attractive grapes. Because that's his escape. He makes grapes very colorful, very sugarful, so the bird, where we already talked about, will come, eat those grapes, and yeah, let's say clearly, shits out the seeds on another place where the plant can survive. So when we get a plant in the survival mode, it will deliver the most colorful, sugar-rich grapes. Not too much production, but high quality. That's what we want. And that's the idea that grapes, the vines, are often not on the best places, but places with a little bit of stress. A little dry place, like this stony place in Bordeaux, or in Châteauneuf-du-Pape, or on a hillside where they are dry and so are a little bit suffering. So remember, it's not only for students that we have to give them a little bit stress to perform well, it's also true for wine. What does it mean? It does mean that those organisms transform the grapes that you got to something special. And everything has to be in the grape. So all the influences during the season, the sunshine, the rain, influence the quality of the grape. The place where the vine stands defines the quality of the grapes, where it grows. And every vintage, every year it will be different. Wine of different years tastes different. The sunshine, the frost, everything during the year influences the wine. And you have special places in the world. Maybe you heard of Grand Crus or famous hillsides in Burgundy that provide. Those are the great places to make Grand Cru wine. Every place makes a unique kind of wine. That's something you have to remember. So in the end, wine is only fermented grape juice, but where it grows makes a big difference. And you get different styles of wines. That is what a wine is. It's an expression of the place where it grows.